Welcome to 90s Gay, where we take a deep dive into queer art and culture from the golden era of the 90s. On this episode, we conclude our chat with legendary photographer Mr. Mike Ruiz. Mike tells us about being personally selected by Prince to be his photographer. They spent many years side by side where Prince continued to call on Mike to shoot album artwork, tour posters, and an endless string of magazine covers and layouts. Mike tells us about working out of Paisley Park, including the time Prince treated him to a private concert. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Mr. Mike Ruiz. Another huge collaborator of yours that you worked with for many years was Prince. Talk to me about how that Prince collaboration came about and what your first impression was meeting him. I imagine he was incredibly intimidating.
What got me through a small portion of the intimidation is that I think it was like 100 photographers or like 30 photographers. I mean, it was a big number of photographers. Submitted their portfolios to shoot this ebony cover of Prince. He was doing an ebony cover, but he micromanaged every creative thing in his life. So he was going to pick the photographer. So he picked me out of all the photographers. So I was like, what? What? Like that was like the most, like, my agent said, yeah, he picked you, and I'm like, it was literally like winning the lottery, like or winning like Miss America.
The golden ticket, the Willy Wonka golden ticket.
Right. I just started sobbing. I was like, oh, I can't believe. And then because he managed, like, he micromanaged. Let's be real, he micromanaged everything. He would never be photographed. He would never like go to New York to be photographed in a studio. Like, everyone had to go to Paisley Park. So he literally flew everyone to Paisley Park. He flew, me and the groomer and the stylist and everyone from the magazine. So we got there, and it was intimidating. He's very guarded, and he was very like standoffish, and and then we started shooting, and he was like, he liked, I was showing him what the images looked like. He was like, oh, that's great. And then, like, the walls started to come down, and by the end of the shoot, he was like a little kid. He was like, oh, Mike, how about if we try this? And, oh, do you think this would be cool? And I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, Prince is deferring to me for any kind of creative, anything.
Yeah. Speaks so much to the environment that you're able to create, though, with being able to put people at ease and shine such a beautiful light on them. Obviously, he felt he was safe in your hands to let that wall come down. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never really thought of that, but I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, anyone who's ever met Prince will tell you that, from the biggest celebrity on down, like, he's very guarded. He doesn't like open up. So that shoot went really well. We left. The magazine came out. He loved it. So then, like 6 months later, my phone rings. And, I pick it up, and it's his manager, and she's like, please hold for Prince. Oh my God. So he's like, can you be in Paisley Park tomorrow? I'm like, yes. So we flew with it. So then he started requesting me for stuff. So we all flew, we'd all fly to Paisley Park, and we do these shoots. And again, like the second time we went to Paisley Park, it's a huge, like, 500,000 square foot facility. I mean, it's a gigantic, like, facility, and there's a huge performance space in it. So in our doing the photo shoot, and him, like, being like a little kid, like, oh, he goes, hey, Mike, do you want to hear some of my new music? And I'm like, yeah. So I thought he was going to put in like a CD or something. He got his band together. They all got up on the stage, and they just started jamming. So they were playing for me, my assistant, and there was a writer there from Rolling Stone, and he did like a whole set for us, and we're like all looking at each other like, oh my God, what is happening right now? Yeah, so that was.
Oh my God, my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah, and then so, but that's like one. So that's not the most, like, bananas thing. Like, I shot from that shoot. And we ended up shooting all this stuff for his tour, Welcome to America. So when he came to Madison Square Garden, he had me. He said, he invited me to come be in the VIP pit and watch the show, and then it was a bunch of us. It was me, Kim Kardashian, Whoopi Goldberg, Chris Rock, and we're just like all hanging out in this VIP thing. And he called us all up on stage, and there's a YouTube video of this still looming around, but he like shouted me out like I'm on stage with Prince at Madison Square Garden. Look at Manhattan. Thank you, Mike. So like that was like another
Yeah.
like
I remember
what is
seeing
happening right
seeing
now?
that at the time. I remember seeing that at the time and freaking out on your
Oh
behalf,
yeah,
thinking, "Oh my god, that is so cool."
oh yeah, and that's the time that he booted Kim Kardashian off stage because she wouldn't dance with him. That was like the infamous thing that happened from that concert. But yeah, that was so there was a lot of surreal, and that's what I mean when I say like this camera's giving me like crazy access. Like I used to idolize these people, and never in a million years did I ever think that I would be within 100 miles of them, let
Mm.
alone having them invite me up on stage at Madison Square Gardens or doing a private set for me, or it was just it's weird. Like all this weird stuff has happened. And it's pretty cool, and I'm really grateful, and it's not lost on me, and I'm not jaded about it. Like I still like reflect back at all the stuff that and I feel so like grateful and fortunate that something in my brain was able to allow me to make decisions to get to get to this
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, for everything to align and for you to be
Yeah,
so in flow with being able to create that for yourself. It's magic. It's absolute magic. One more thing
yeah.
about Prince, I wonder on set with him, so many times in it when you see behind the scenes of an artist being photographed, there's great music playing as they're doing their shots to get them into the zone. Did he have music playing? Would he play his own music during those moments? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I don't think it was his music. I imagine there was music.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't remember. It's so weird. I don't remember what was playing. I mean, that's not like, like because I'm not like musically inclined that way, like that's not that's not what that conjures up memories for me, like
Yes.
people
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hear a song and like, I don't, like, I'm not aware of that stuff when it's happening, like music. So, you know, like
And you also
I
had
couldn't even tell you what he played. I couldn't tell you what he played. I was just so like mesmerized that he was doing it at all. But yes, I don't. But I mean, he always created like an ambiance. So and there's such a huge space. Like
yeah.
he always had like something, and then he would disappear for like 3 hours. Like he'd be like, "Hold on, I'll be right back," and he'd just be gone for 3 hours, and we're all sitting there waiting, thinking he's coming right back, and I still have my camera in my hand, like, where's he coming? What if he walks in right now? I want to be ready. 3 hours later, my arms all cramped, and so it was funny. But
So
like
elusive.
anyone else, I would have been like, this is really freaking disrespectful. But Prince, I'm like, 10 hours, whatever. Come back whenever
Take
you're
it.
ready.
Take it. Yeah. Have we, as the audience, seen everything that you guys shot together? Because he's also renowned for sort of like creating things and then burying some stuff away in the vault. Is there any? Do you know if there's any shots or any things that we haven't seen yet that could
Um,
come out from the estate?
oh, I don't think the estate's going to release. Well, they might because they did. They bought everything out. Like, and he would do that too. Like after a shoot, he would buy the copyright.
Mm,
He spent a fortune. Like, he bought me a couple of cars, but he would just buy the copyright. Like he's one of the few people that would just do that. Like whenever he did a photo shoot, he would do a full buyout. So like
yeah.
he owns everything. Um, Trying to think if there's anything that's looming around. I mean, when the band that we're talking about, like I don't think he ever released any of those shots, but I don't even know. I mean, I don't know how there would be. I don't know why they would be. I don't know. There's some stuff looming around that, but I can't imagine like how it would be used because
Yeah.
it's not necessarily of him. It's of him with like his bandmates, or I don't know how that would be used.
Yeah.
But posthumously, they used all of my images. The album that they released last year, or like those are all my images that they used for that. So that was pretty cool. Like, posthumously that he, you know, still he's still supporting me from beyond the grave.
Yeah, gave you a little
Yeah,
wink and a nod from the other side. Incredible.
yeah.
The list of celebrities that you've worked with is just it's literally like a who's who of Hollywood. Is there anyone left that you'd like to shoot that you haven't had a chance to work with yet?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a ton of people. There's ton of people that are coming up. I mean, I would love to shoot Emma Stone.
Oh yeah.
I would love to shoot Dave Bautista. He's because he's a huge dog. He's a huge like pit bull advocate, and so am
Mm,
I. And I mean, like a lot of times, that's why I want to work with people. It's not necessarily because I'm like like I'm a fan, or it's usually I'm inspired by stuff that they do outside of. Like I photographed him once, Lewis Hamilton. I photographed him in
yeah.
2016 before he was vegan. Um, so now he's like, and I'm kind of like I mean, I'm not full vegan, but I'm pretty hardcore animal advocate. So like I'm aggressively pursuing him now because I want to photograph him for. So those are the kind of people that really inspire me that I want to photograph.
Amazing. And speaking of being vegan, talk to me about your workout regime because anyone who follows you on Instagram would be well aware that your body is its own work of art. Tell me how much work goes into looking like that because that's so impressive.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but I don't again like I don't view it as work. Like it's a creative outlet for me. It's when you see like your body shifting and changing, like it kind of motivates you you know to see what's possible. Just like in any kind of like career or business, or like once you have a little bit of success in something, you're like, oh, here, let me put some effort into this and see how much more I can get out of it. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how it started with working out, and I just like I've become dependent on it, for the brain chemistry. Like it offers me a lot of stress relief, and I like doing it. I like the creative aspect of it. Like I like sculpting human flesh. It's kind of a weird sort of long term project. Um,
Yeah, right.
that but that's kind of how I view it. Like I just view it as like a long term creative endeavor.
Yeah. And ever evolving, I'm sure too.
Yeah, I mean, injuries and stuff kind of preclude me from doing things. So again, being the problem solver that I am, I don't, I don't throw my hands up, and I don't throw in the towel and quit. I figure out ways around things. Like I have a torn rotator cuff and shattered discs and nerve damage and like a torn Achilles tendon, and so I'm sort of surprising that I'm walking at all,
Hmm.
but I figured out ways to circumvent all of that stuff to continue being able to work out.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of people would have quit by now, but I mean, I've had a lot of injuries.
Yeah. But I guess, like you said, it's serving a greater purpose, especially with what it can do for you mentally. I think it's such a great stress reliever
Yeah,
and way to sort of like blow off steam in such a healthy, fantastic way. Um,
yeah, I really depend on it for that.
yeah, another quality that you're renowned for is your kindness, and this is something that goes against the stereotype in the fashion and beauty industry. The reputation of that industry is that people are pretentious and arrogant, but you are renowned as being the opposite of that. Is that a conscious effort to go against that stereotype, or is this um, just your own inner personality that you've always had before coming into the industry? It makes me wonder, like, how much of that is informed by the environment that you exist in.
I don't, like I don't think about it. Like I just, it's just I genuinely don't think that I'm better or inferior to anybody. So like I just treat everybody the same,
Hmm.
And it's the way that I want to be treated. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but like when people mistake that, like when people mistake my kindness for weakness, um, then I, like I'm really good at setting up boundaries and stuff. So a lot of times people are put off by my boundary setting because they weren't expecting it because I'm just like I'm really chill and nice and people people who confuse those two things are often the ones who are like put off by like and I'm I do it very like politely and casually but I'm like no this is not happening you're not you this is the line you're not
Yeah.
crossing it.
Yeah. Well, that was going to
um
be my next question. Has it ever been a detriment to you in your career that people could interpret it of you being a pushover, or they can just railroad you into? But I guess that's
yeah.
another skill that you've developed is being able to set that boundary.
Well, I haven't always been able to set boundaries. I mean, when I started I was a people pleaser and I wanted to be liked and I mean I got taken advantage of constantly.
Mm,
And to a certain degree I still do because I try not to like close myself off and be jaded and guarded and
sure.
walled in and paranoid about like everyone's trying to take advantage of me and like I don't that's too much mental gymnastics for me. So like I'd rather have like an opening for the like I'd rather there be a possibility that I could be taken advantage of than spend than the alternative which is spend all that extra energy
Yeah.
guarding every nook and cranny of everything like what I mean like I can't and I still get taken advantage of but I roll with it now and I don't look at it as like a personal attack anymore like if people are taking advantage of me that means that they just don't have any boundaries for themselves
Yeah.
and I'm pretty quick to like remove myself from situations like that and I just roll with it and move on to the next more positive situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad that it's something
But
that
but
hasn't been sort of like there would be the potential that working in this industry that you could become jaded or that kindness could be sort of knocked out of you. I'm so glad that you've been able to retain that beautiful kind-hearted nature because it's something that you can spot a mile off from you and it really instantly makes people warm to you and root for you as well.
oh, well, that's good to hear. I mean, again, that's kind of like that's the legacy I would like to leave is that I wasn't a piece of crap. I wasn't a horrible, mean, angry piece of crap, and it just again it just boils down to like like I really genuinely don't see the difference between people like like I don't understand how someone could feel people who feel superior or who project an air of superiority is usually masking their feelings of inferiority. So I
Yes.
feel like people who are just like whatever like are are the ones who I don't know probably have the most confidence or I mean I don't know I don't know like I don't know how to qualify it or quantify it or I just know that I don't want to be mistreated so I'm gonna do my best to not mistreat people and you know I hope that's the takeaway
Mm.
when people leave my presence is that I'm not a piece of shit. And people do. I mean, like that's the other thing. I just read a quote saying, "Not everyone gets this version of me because not everyone deserves it." It's a sad reality. Humanity
Yeah.
is a broken. We're a broken species, and a lot of people just have a difficult time navigating basic humanity, and it's
Yeah. Basic decency.
you
Yeah.
know, I'm as broken as the next person, but I try not to. I try to, like if I'm going to hold on to something, like I try to hold on to a shred of humanity, to treat people and animals and with kindness and respect and hope that I get it back.
Yeah. Incredible. What drives current day Mike versus young Mike starting out? What keeps you inspired in 2024?
Well, my show that I'm working on is what's really got me fired up these days. You know, in the magazine that I co-own with Allison Hernan, she's my business partner. I'm really inspired by that because you know there's another example of me figuring something out of nothing. Like neither one of us had any experience in publishing, and we're like, oh, let's start a magazine, and we did, and we just kind of flailed our way through it and figured it out, and we have our own system now, and it's not conventional, but it's successful, and we're doing pretty well, and we're pretty well respected, you know, for a little indie mag that we are. So you know, I'm pretty proud of that, and that keeps me lately. That's been keeping me really inspired because it uses a different part of my brain because I have to do different things. Like now I have to solicit celebrities and I have to, you know, like I have to do things whereas magazines who used to hire me would handle all of that stuff. Now I have to do all of that stuff. So it's like this whole other set of skills that I have to implement. You know, kind of keeps me mentally agile.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. You've
I don't
lasted
know.
such
I don't know if I'm mentally agile, but I'd like to think that I am.
totally. You've lasted a long time and maintained relevancy for such a long period of time in such a fickle industry. What do you attribute your staying power to?
Fear of failure.
Yeah.
uh, well, I mean, no, I don't know. It's my wanderlust. You know, like I still feel like a little kid sometimes. Like you know, I see the wonder in things still, and I'm still like fascinated by new and different things, and that's why I like embarking on new unfamiliar things and projects because it it's scary on one hand and makes me uncomfortable, but then it pushes me out of my comfort zone and you know kind of broadens my mind and just kind of keeps me motivated and inspired and um, what was the question?
Well, exactly that.
I
How to
go
stay
off on
motivated.
tangents and I can't. Oh yeah,
No, exactly that.
that's
How to stay motivated and inspired. Well, your work inspires so many people. It's been such a joy to speak to you and to to hear like a little bit more about all of that background. Um, I can't thank you enough for the inspiration that you've given so many people with watching the way that you carry yourself, your animal advocacy, your incredible photography, and your credible work. Thank you so much for all that you've given to the world. Tell people where they can stay connected to you. Is Instagram the best, and your website to be able to stay connected to what's on the agenda for Mike?
um, Instagram. You know, all roads lead back to Instagram these days. So it's at Mike Ruiz one. I have two actually. I have my professional one with you know my work and my advocacy and stuff, which is at Mike Ruiz one, all spelled out. And then I have a private account that's a little more frivolous and a little more personal, and that's Mike Ruiz one, all spelled out with the number one at the end of it. So Mike Ruiz one is like my main account, and then my fun flirty account is the other one.
Incredible.
And if you
Thank you.
Google Mike Ruiz, the two top ones that come up.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. Well, thanks again, Mike. It's been such a joy to chat with you, and
Oh,
I'll
likewise.
be on the lookout for the TV show and what's coming next with Photo Book. Incredible.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. Yeah, we'll have to schedule another chat once the TV show is
Oh,
up and running.
100% a follow up.
I've always been a big fan of your work, so it's so fantastic to
Nice.
to touch base with you again and to hear all that back.
Well, it's nice to see you again, Joel. I'm glad we were able to do this. I appreciate your support.
Anytime, anytime. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right, talk to you soon.
Make sure you don't miss out on future episodes of 90s Gay. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, join our community on Instagram, or head on over to Mr. and Mrs. YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time on 90s Gay.